Hello, everyone. Welcome to our love streaming. We're calling that now love streaming. So thank you all for joining me. I've got two computers on the go here. Hang on. Thank you all for joining me today. I've had quite a week, as you have seen, that I have undertaken to do A Course in Miracles lessons 365 times. Kept getting the nudge. I wasn't ordered to do it, but it was a clear guidance, and actually really enjoying it. I listened to the lesson, to today's lesson, before I did this, so I'm really happy that I complied with the nudge from Spirit. We do have some interesting news regarding retreats. I have officially, as of yesterday, requested to book the Crete retreat one more time. We were going to look at Italy, but I had left it too late. I was overwhelmed with a lot of things this year, to be perfectly honest, and didn't get there in time. So we'll be looking at Italy in 2020, but we are going to go back to Crete, to the Palladio Villa, where we went last May. It's a little later in May. The dates that I am booking it are from the 29th of May until the 2nd of June. So you can put that in your calendar. We will be having a page on the website, so please don't panic and message Carol or me. The booking buttons will be on that page, so hold tight, and I will put a notification up on the my Facebook pages when that page is ready. So then you will book, but there's no booking till then. So that's it for business, I think. Let's see what Jesus has to say. See you in a minute. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And of course, as usual, we are very pleased that you have come together through the use of your free will to connect with each other at the frequency of love and learning. This is the big challenge for many of you at this time, and this is one of the reasons that we pushed our dear one to do the daily lessons. This world, as it becomes a little bit more chaotic, as systems begin to be challenged and break down, you are witnessing some of the rebellious behaviors of those yellow jacket wearing beings in Europe saying enough is enough. You're going to see more and more of this type of thing. And it's very important as Course in Miracles students that you do not become frightened by what you're seeing in the world. This is what it's for. The world is not designed to make you happy in that sense. Your purpose is to be happy, but that reflection out there is not designed to make you happy. It is a hodgepodge of all kinds of different beliefs, thoughts, and ideas and fears manifested into the physical by all of you on this planet. And so it is the end result. It is not going to do anything to you in that sense. It has already been done. You're looking at a crime scene, basically, and saying, well, what could I have done to stop it? Well, you could have trained your mind a few years ago. Always an option. But if you are beginning to feel the panic now of a world seemingly diving into chaos, then you are well served to do the lessons, because it's going to take you inside to the eternal you, which is the part of you that will not be afraid, that will not be blown hither and yon by the winds of change. And so it is very, very important. And as we said, that is why our dear one was encouraged to do it. And she is, as she likes to say, gobsmacked by the reaction. Tears brought to her eyes the first day when she saw thousands of people thanking her and watching the videos and applauding her for doing this. She is completely unaware at times of the magnitude of the work that she does. And that is one of the reasons that she was chosen to do this work, because she does not seek fame and fortune. She does not seek those things that this world offers as balm for the sad soul. She has gone in, done the work, and has come to a place of equanimity that allows her to do this work without fanfare. And this is something for all of you to consider as you are doing your work. Some of you will not be given the opportunity for public works such as this on a stage, because in your makeup there is a tendency to lust after power or attention, and it would not serve you to get that power and or attention. There are those of you that will be working very, very quietly alone as creators for your whole life without any fanfare necessarily in the daily life that you lead. But your work will speak volumes over time and inspire and encourage and wake people up to their own feeling self. So we want you to understand that this particular job that this being has is not something to aspire to necessarily. There are some of you who are channeling now who, far from it, regret beginning to channel and feel some sense of obligation that you too should do what this being is doing. And you, of course, do not have to. You are free to channel in your own way. You can channel just for your friends and family. You can channel just for yourself. Your guidance system will lead you. Do not feel any sense of obligation, any sense of should, any sense of how am I going to handle this? You want to just trust in each day that you're here doing your practice of the Course in Miracles lessons, and after you've done the lessons, the principles of those lessons. That is what is going to take you step by baby step down the path towards what you are destined to do. You will be listening to your guidance. You will be feeling good. When you feel bad, you'll be paying attention and saying, what did I just do there? How did I go down that rabbit hole, as some of you say? Well, a rabbit hole is a long, dark hole, and you do not just fall in a rabbit hole. You look at the hole and you go down there voluntarily by following a story in your mind. And this is one of the practices that you are going to have your attention drawn to today. When someone says they fell down a rabbit hole, there is a powerlessness to that statement. It is not accidental. You chose to follow thought after thought that are based in the materialistic body ego world. Whether it was financial fear or judgment of somebody or judgment of self, whatever it is that you chose to repeatedly think about, act upon, value, those were the actions that took you down the rabbit hole. Now, as Course in Miracles students, of course, you realize you're down a rabbit hole because you feel so bad. Now, we are laughing because it is quite funny to us on this side that you claim innocence and victimhood when you chose the thoughts, you chose the story, you chose the gossip, you chose the fear, you chose the attack, and then say, oh no, I fell down there accidentally. But you didn't. You used your free will to choose a series of thoughts, beliefs, and ideas and act upon them, perhaps if only in your imagination. That took you down the rabbit hole. Rabbit holes are really, really good for you. Rabbit holes show you that you lost control of your thoughts, that you took your mind into the shadows, and that your guidance system is working very, very well by telling you that you don't feel very good anymore. So for those of you that go down rabbit holes occasionally or frequently, when you come back up out of the rabbit hole, what you want to do is to acknowledge that you did something and that it took you down there. This is a very, very important ownership of your own decision-making abilities, because that's the one thing that you have across the board equal, whether you're rich, poor, beautiful, less than attractive, educated, uneducated. You all have free will, and you all have the ability to choose the next thought that you believe or don't believe. So don't believe everything you think, because those beliefs, those thoughts are coming from beliefs that aren't necessarily yours and you may not even value, but they've been put there. And those rabbit holes give you an illustration of the loss of discipline over the mind. Now, initially, when you are learning how to manage your mind, rabbit holes just pop up all over the place. But as you spend more time discerning the beginning of that string of thoughts that take you down to the rabbit hole, you'll catch it sooner and sooner and sooner and sooner. And eventually you will just have a small little flicker of negativity in your emotional guidance system. And you'll be like, nope, not going down that rabbit hole. And you will redirect your mind to appreciation, to creativity, to love, to kindness, to something that you know will bring you what you want. You know will plant a seed of a future that you will enjoy. And it will take merely a second to step away from what used to be days in a rabbit hole. So for those of you that have had a few rabbit holes over this holiday season, and we know there are some of you, and it often has to do with money, and it has to do with travel, and it has to do with family, reassess what happened with that rabbit hole if you can. Go back and see if you can figure out where you stepped that first step down and where you chose to keep going. Whether it was following a resentment that you have about somebody, telling a story to somebody else, whatever it is. Use your rabbit holes for your education and elucidation. It is a wonderful, wonderful gift, your emotional guidance system. What you must remember, however, is that the form is designed to deceive you. Not by the devil, but by you. You have decided that there's certain things that you can't really deal with in this incarnation that scare you too much, that are very, very big boogeymen. And you hide them from yourself. And so you put them in places. You put them in the form of sickness in your body, and you put them in the form of enemies or family members. Often you will put one of your most challenging life lessons in one of your family members because you know you can't evade them that easily. If you put it in a casual friend, you would see that issue coming up and you would walk the other way. But when they are in your family members, you have to keep revisiting them. You have to keep looking at them. And that's why you put them in those beings. Because before you chose to come into this incarnation, in your pre-life conversations with your guides and teachers and instructors, they said, you can't avoid it this time. Let's put it in your mother. Let's put it in your sister. Let's put it in your father. And there lies your greatest gift. Those beings that can send you down a rabbit hole just like that, because they push the wound in you. They push the fear in you. They push the button in you. But you cast them in that role and you said to them, show me my pain when we are in that incarnation, and it will give me an opportunity to forgive and to expand my consciousness and to grow. And that is how we want you to look at the people who push you down the rabbit hole. We know it is not fun for you when you're down there, but as you train your mind, you will see that these are great opportunities, and you're going to have a lot of opportunities to go down rabbit holes this year. That's why we're speaking about this subject. So remember that if you see a piece of news or you encounter a problem, you assign this to yourself. If it brings up fear, if it brings up rage, if it brings up distress, you have assigned this to yourself so that you may rise above the battleground and evolve into a highly conscious being that is in alignment with love and not fear. So the fearmongers are working hard this year. Do not fall into their traps, but take back your mind, be the captain of your ship, and steer it where you want it to go, towards love. That is the solution for you, every single one of you. And we are asking you again to read the book that this being wrote about love, so that you are not misnaming love, falling into the romantic idea of love, because this is what some humans on this planet do. They fall into the romantic conditioning of love, and they will spend their life looking for the one. They will spend their life looking for a sexual partner who will make everything okay. And it is not going to work, because that's not how it works. The love is in you. It is your guidance system. It is in perfect alignment with love. It only causes distress when you step away from love through your actions, not through anybody else's. Your guidance system is about you, not anybody else. So another thing to remember, and read the love book, Love and a Map to the Unaltered Soul. It redefines what love is for you so that you are not saying things to yourself like, I'm alone, I'm always going to be alone. You live in a world in this level of consciousness that you possess now that is surrounding you with opportunities for many, many experiences that are highly valuable and have nothing to do with a monogamous sexual partner. And that is why all the love songs, all the love and romantic movies, all of those programs are pushed at you to try and get you to look for love in another person instead of truly cultivating agape, which is love for everything, including yourself. And in that cultivation of love, you will have a very, very full and rewarding day, whether or not you are married or have a boyfriend or girlfriend or lover. It does not mean that those things are bad, but those things pursued to the exclusion of all other forms of love are limiting. And that is why a lot of you are very dissatisfied when you do find a partner and become jealous and controlling or disillusioned, because you are putting all your eggs in one basket, and your eggs should be distributed lovingly amongst everything. And that is where we'll end this introduction today. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and I will return shortly. Okay. Just have a little sippy sip in my lovely Sedona mug. Dear Jesus and Ananda, is the world's overpopulation a serious problem for Gaia? Would it be kinder to Gaia if we had smaller families? Or is it mainly a problem of the maldistribution of resources? Thank you. That's from Ravina. Too many babies. Okay, let's see what Ananda has to say. We're with you again, dear ones. We are, of course, very proud of you for showing up today in your little meat suits. We know that there are lots of things for you to be doing or eating or watching or playing with in your world. And so you have made time for this gathering. And for that, we are very grateful. We are thoroughly enjoying the experiences of all of you, and we mean all of you as Course in Miracles students, not necessarily just those here, regarding the lessons that our dear one is doing on a daily basis. There is tremendous enthusiasm being emitted around the planet, and it is important for you to understand that this is the kind of collective conscious joining that will shift things. This ministry that has been developed over years has been planned very, very carefully from the beginning. There were times when this being was very confused and didn't know where it was leading or why it was going the way it was or why she was asked to do what she was asked to do. But as she goes through these lessons, for example, and sees the wonderful response that is coming back from many, many beings around the planet, her acceptance is becoming deeper and deeper and deeper. And we want you to think about your acceptance. Are you accepting who you are, where you are right now, even though, yes, you are doing the lessons to improve your experience? But we want you to know that acceptance of yourself is such a wonderful, wonderful gift. You are not here by mistake. You are not here because you're bad. The experiences you've had have shown you things you needed to see about yourself, and that's why the forgiveness practice is so important. You were never a victim of anybody, any distorted relationships you had, any abuse that you have received revealed to you a frequency that you needed to look at. That is now your forgiveness practice and therefore focus. So yes, we will get to the question, but we do like to have our little 2 cents worth at the beginning of our beginning commentary here. Do not worry about Gaia. That is our answer. We are kidding. We are going to give you a more detailed response, but that is the truth. She's a conscious being. At any point, Gaia could decide to just give herself a good old shake, and most of you would be history. She lives with you because she chooses to. She's a loving, generous, expressive, extending consciousness, and has decided to work with the human population in that 3D form as it exists now to cooperate and to nurture you in a place where you can grow your expansion, we will say. She's like a lovely big old warm greenhouse, growing little beings and being very kind and allowing you your space, feeding you, clothing you. Think of all the beautiful resources that come from her. The blight that has entered that garden, for it is a Garden of Eden, the blight that has entered that garden is just that. It is a blight. It is like a little sickness that comes into your garden. Those of you who plant tomatoes or flowers or whatever will remember that feeling of seeing that there's been some invasive little insect coming into your garden to destroy your fruits and vegetables. Gaia's looking at that and she is saying, well, I think I have let that go far enough. And I think it's time that we begin to spray that blight with some insecticidal soap of some kind. And that really is the revolution that's going on the planet. You are being inspired by Gaia to work for her. You are being given the energies of love from her and from the galactic center sun, the physical symbol of that which you would call the Godhead. You are being given love frequencies from within and from without your planet, above and below. And you are being inspired to be more loving. And that is why this is the year that we want you to deepen your practice. We want you to stop flailing around in the fringes of materialism and arguing about politicians. It does not mean that you do not become involved. Oh no, we are saying align with love, and do those things that love inspires you to do. Love will never inspire you to throw a Molotov cocktail. Love will never inspire you to type a hateful comment on Facebook. Love will inspire you to go for a walk. Love will inspire you to plant some seeds. Love will inspire you to spend the afternoon playing with your grandchild. Love will inspire you to write some poetry. Love will inspire you to buy healthy food. Love will inspire you to meet with your neighbors and decide that you don't want something that's coming into your neighborhood, and that together you are more powerful than the force that is trying to implement something that you know is not good for you and therefore not loving. It does not mean that you become passive, a doormat. Oh no, indeed. Those who are truly aligned with love become so powerful that the blight will stand not a chance. So know that your alignment with love, you're forgiving of your resentments, you're focusing in the present moment, you're buying those colored pencils because you keep thinking about it, or that ballet class that you want to take, that knitting instruction that you feel is interesting for some strange reason. Those are the things that are speaking to you to get your frequency up to the frequency of love. And there you meet wonderful, like-minded souls. And there you are inspired. There you are creative. There you are healthy. There you become stronger. Those resentments that take you down the rabbit holes do not feel good, and they make you weaker. So if you have been mulling over the plight of the planet, do not. Know that she was here long before your civilization, and she will be here long after your civilization. So you should not care for her in that sense. She's doing well. But if you want to support her, if you want to join her in that step up into a new evolutionary experience, then do your forgiveness work and your practice of A Course in Miracles lessons every day, and feel the differences that come to you. That awareness that you didn't take the bait when somebody poked you and said something negative. You were able to just let it wash over you, not take it in at all. That negativity did not get you this time. And these are the kinds of things that you're going to see as you do your lessons, as you practice your lessons. That fears that used to keep you awake at night have gone and you sleep soundly. That bad habits that used to dog you, addictions or food or drinking habits that were out of control, have subsided into normalcy. These are the miracles that begin to become evident. And those miracles, those reasonable behaviors, will stop you doing the things that destroy your planet. There are people who drive their cars miles and miles and miles every day because they cannot sit still with themselves and burning all that gasoline. If they had done A Course in Miracles and had some peace, they would not be contributing to that pollution. They would not be buying clothes that they don't need or shopping online because they feel agitated and don't know how to deal with it. All of your negative behaviors, and we say that in quotation marks because really this is about you, learning about you. And that's what this plane is for. There is no one at fault here. You're all floundering around, bumping into each other and bumping into your beliefs, having a look at them, avoiding them, bumping into them again, seeing them again. And then there's a pattern. You're like, oh, okay, there I go again, doing the same thing again. What's really going on here? That's what this place is for. So you can step back from your judgment of everybody else not doing it well and look into your own principles and your own beliefs and your own actions, thoughts, words, and deeds. There is the issue. If every human on this planet did A Course in Miracles for 1 year, including all those politicians, including all those dark and nefarious manipulators that you don't see, your world would be heaven indeed. It would be the Garden of Eden again, because those beings that are driven by greed or fear or desire for power would see that they are only hurting themselves, and they will have to experience whatever it is that they shared with everybody, because what you give away, you receive. So give away love, give away peace, give away kindness, and know, yes, Gaia can feel you. Yes, you can communicate with her, and she is guiding all of you to improve your behavior. You do not need to worry about her. The separation that you witness in the multiplicity of individual bodies on this plane is merely an illusion. And as you rise up in your consciousness, you will see that it is only those lower frequency beings that feel that separation. And as you evolve, as you grow, you will see that beneath that seeming separation is one consciousness, all one consciousness, connected by love, for love. And that is where your home is. That is where your path is taking you. We will return shortly. Oh, lovely. Chat amongst yourselves for a moment. I'm just going to look at the chat here, see what you guys are up to. Okie dokie. That was a lovely answer. Oh, okay, a lot of words. Somebody asking again, I guess their question didn't get through last time. Would Jesus be so kind as to elaborate or on level confusion as mentioned in A Course in Miracles? What is it exactly? Thanks. As I say, it's eating a piece of cake to feel better. That's my definition of level confusion. It's not going to do the job. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And this is one of the fundamental things that causes you suffering, is to not look in the correct place to correct the problem that you're having. Your guidance system, of course, is one of the first places of level confusion. You have a feeling when you gaze upon somebody doing something that you consider bad, and you have a negative feeling, and you then project that feeling onto them and say, they made me feel bad. What this means is that you're in the wrong level of consciousness to be able to solve the problem. You are in a situation that, let us say, requires love to solve it. When you're observing somebody being abusive in some way, or doing something that you deem in your limited understanding to be wrong, and of course your limited understanding is part of the problem. But when you are observing that, and deem them to be bad, you are not adding love to the situation, which is what, of course, non-duality asks you to do. There is a lack of love, and so what is the solution? It is not attack, it is adding love to the mix. And so when you see somebody struggling or being abusive or whatever it is, and you understand that to correct the problem means you need to add love to the mix, then you are working in the correct level of mind. You are understanding that that end result is not the issue. It is a symptom of the underlying frequency that's being emitted. And if it's front and center with you, if someone in front of you is behaving that way, it is a direct reflection of your consciousness on some level. And we say, is it in your lane? And this is very, very easy to determine. If you see somebody out in the, we will say in the wide world, and you're looking at it through your screens, whatever screen you choose to look at, they're pretty much all the same. And you will say, well, they should not be doing that. That's bad. You are, from a very, very limited understanding, ignorance, in fact, deciding that you know how things should go on the other side of the world. If you are honest with yourself, you will say to yourself, actually, I'm not that well educated on Somali politics or Indian electrical systems, whatever the issue is that you're visiting through your multimedia screens. If you're honest, you will see, I made a very, very snap decision based on some little opinion of mine, and I am actually not justified in making that decision, that judgment. So this is where we want you to become humble, not groveling, sniveling doormats. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, is it in your lane? Is it right in front of you? Is it a being in your kitchen talking to you? Or is it somebody in the newspaper that is being brought into your house? These are the questions that we want you to ask yourself. That's one level confusion issue. Is it in your lane? Do you have any experience in that subject? Now, you may look at somebody and say, well, that is not loving behavior. That I know. And we say, yes, that's true. But that is an observation. It is not laden with value judgments and opinions and decisions to punish. To observe somebody hitting a dog is to observe an unloving situation. How do you offer love to that situation? Well, if you are trained, if your mind is trained and you've done A Course in Miracles or are participating in this retraining program, you might have some idea of how to approach that particular situation if it is in your lane. Again, the first question you ask when observing something in your world, is it in my lane or is it somewhere else and I've just brought it over here? Eliminate those things. And this is one of the reasons why the whole getting your information off propaganda machines is a very, very big issue in your spiritual evolution, because then you are contaminating your lane with all kinds of things that you should not be thinking about. If you are concerned about the government of your country, run for local office or help somebody who's brave enough to run for local office. Go to meetings because you're interested and you want to make a positive difference. You're not just sitting on your couch, Sunday morning quarterback. So that's what you can do. If politics interests you, Become involved in the political debate within your community. And that can be a very, very simple process, just going to board meetings or going to council meetings. And if you follow that guidance, I'm really interested in politics, I'm really interested in how things work, you may find yourself being inspired to step up and actually do something. These are the kinds of inspirations that will follow you when you follow a path of passion. You might decide that you want to take an art class, but you don't know how to paint. Well, of course, if you don't know how to paint, you take an art class. So that's the first hurdle for you, is to know that it's okay not to know how to paint when you take an art class. These are some of the examples of level confusion. If you don't take an art class because you don't know how to paint and you're afraid of being embarrassed, you've confused your levels. You're saying that this feeling I have of fear about being judged about painting is going to stop me acting in the world and signing up for that class. You have allowed a thought, a fear, to interfere with your passion and your purpose. These are some of the basic ways that you can negotiate levels. But what happens when somebody does not know the difference between the levels? You'll get things like plastic surgery, for example. Somebody who's looking in the mirror and judging themselves as ugly and worthless will go to a plastic surgeon and will change the body. But the mind was the issue. Somebody who's very depressed and has immersed themselves in rabbit hole after rabbit hole will attempt suicide. They are trying to kill the body in which they reside because they feel that that is the only way to stop the suffering. But it is not in the body, it is in the mind. You'll see it in people who cut themselves when they're suffering. Their intense mental and emotional pain is so big that they have to show it somehow. They have to cause a physical injury, but they are confusing levels. They would be better off served to be educated and know that their thinking processes are distorted, and that is where they need to do the work. So, for example, in an ordinary situation that any of you might experience, you might be feeling, this happens more often with women than men, but we'll use this experience. You might be feeling bored, or you might be feeling like your life isn't that interesting, and then you decide to go and get your hair done because it will pick you up, you say. That's level confusion. You are going to the physical in an effort to change the fact that you're bored. If you're bored, it's very good not to go and do anything with your hair, because then you will have to face the fact that you are underutilizing the time that you have on the planet, that you're not stimulating yourself. You're choosing to perhaps medicate or numb yourself with all of the things in your society that you do that with. This is why it's very, very good at times to go on a, we will say, sabbatical from your medications. And that could be the glass of wine you have with dinner. It could be your favorite TV show. It could be your shopping trips on the weekend. It could be your regular trips to restaurants or whatever you do to alleviate your suffering. To feel your pain, to give yourself that gift is a wonderful, wonderful thing indeed. And then you are not confusing levels. You are saying to yourself, instead of keeping myself busy all day with things that actually really don't interest me, I'm going to sit with myself and I'm going to ask what's really going on. For a lot of you in the Western world, you're just a little bit too comfortable. The couch is comfy, the fridge is full of food, there's lots of entertainment around you, you've got a car that you can hop in and go places, you've got some money in your pocket. You can go day after day after day not feeling what's actually trying to tell you that you're not in alignment with your passion and your purpose. Mundane, boring entertainment practices. So that's where we're going to leave that discussion right now. There are greater level confusions. For example, believing that God is going to give you something that you can't give yourself, or the devil is going to get you because you've made a mistake. These would be considered level confusions as well. But we know, and we know you know, everything begins with mind. If you find yourself addicted, if you find yourself habitually doing something, if you're constantly walking away from your feelings and entertaining yourself with things, stop even for half a day and sit on your couch and ask yourself, what's really going on here? Go to the source, go to the correct level, and there you will find your answer. It is not that hidden. It's not hidden very deep at all. It will pop to the surface. It will be, I don't like blank. I'm not happy doing blank anymore. Blank needs to change. And there you have your assignment to work with that thought, that belief. It does not mean that that is true, but that is what your mind believes. And as long as your mind believes that, then it is true for you until you go through a process of transformation of some kind. And of course, the lessons of A Course in Miracles are designed to get you to see which level you're functioning on and which level you are working with. Make sure that you're working with the correct level where the problem begins. We will return shortly. Okay. I get the feeling that that was a pretty mundane addressing of the level issues. There was a feeling in there that there was much more information, but I got the feeling that that was enough for us today. Okay, Ananda. When pursuing love and peace and joy while ignoring conflict or not choosing it, is there a lack of authenticity in only seeking love and joy or good vibes only? How do we learn to balance necessary conflict or appropriate conflict for growth with this choice to love or be at peace or to feel joy 24/7 as our inheritance? It's a very good question. I'm going to read it again. When pursuing love and peace and joy while ignoring conflict or not choosing it, is there a lack of authenticity in only seeking love and joy or good vibes only? How do we learn to balance necessary conflict or appropriate conflict for growth with this choice to love or be at peace? Okay, let's see what Ananda says about that. We're with you again, dear ones. Your training program, which is A Course in Miracles, of course, is the ultimate teaching, learning tool. And when you are training for a marathon, you do not run 26 miles the first day. That wouldn't work very well. You understand this in the physical world. And in the non-physical world, in the realm of thought, in the realm of creation, the same thing applies. You are not going to be able to practice love and peace and joy all the time as a beginning Course in Miracles student. And when we say beginning Course in Miracles student, we mean the first 5 or 10 years of your practice, not the first 5 weeks. So you are going to encounter triggers, which means that your practice and your life is going to bring to you those areas that are out of balance. And that means that you are going to have a negative emotional reaction to those things. So it is important for you, however, to understand that you are not a victim of these negativities. You are the creator of these negativities and the experiencer of these negativities. Forgiveness is not about being flat and dead. It is about understanding that when you lose the plot, as our dear one likes to say, and you get angry, there is something in you that is in fact out of alignment. The anger in and of itself, that being triggered, is not bad. You are not asked to become automatons or robots, or would be repression and control. What we are asking you to do is witness your upsets, whether they be large or small, and go into them with the understanding that this is coming from within your consciousness and that it's not loving in some way. And how is it not loving? So when somebody crosses your boundaries, for example, this could be an ordinary circumstance where you feel anger. What that anger is showing you is that there is a defense mechanism that you have erected to keep you safe, and somebody walk through it. We will use that as a sample. It's not always the case, but we'll use that as an example. So for example, there are people who are quite hermetic and they don't want people around them. And if somebody crosses over that boundary, let's say someone comes into their backyard because their dog got loose, the person who's super defensive, fearful of other human beings, controlling in their nature, will look out at that dog in the backyard and they will rage inside. They may have a flare of anger because their malformed defense system has been crossed. Now, from the uneducated mind, the person would say, I'm justified in my anger. For the Course in Miracles student, which we hope the entire world becomes, we will say, they would still experience that intense negative reaction because it has not yet been dealt with. It's not yet been revealed to you. But after that experience, that person may sit down and contemplate, wow, I get really upset when people come close to me, or dogs. Our dear one is obsessed with dogs right now, so we use dogs as a good example. And they're not easy to control, and they will go through boundaries, and that's one of the gifts that they give you. And this is why we're speaking about this. So that person who is into self-inquiry, who's educating themselves about their guidance system, will say, that was a very, very strong negative reaction there. Why am I so upset? The uneducated, the ignorant person will call the police and tell that person to control their dog, and that will strengthen their defense mechanisms and keep them further from connecting with other beings. And so you can see here that it is a decision-making process based on the level of your awareness. There are beings who are genuinely less interested in meaningless social interaction. And so they will say, no, thank you. I'm not going to do that. I'm quite happy being at home reading a book. But it's not in a sense of defensiveness. It is in a sense of, I would prefer this. This actually is my passion, and that doesn't interest me. That is a completely different vibe. They are choosing love. They're choosing what interests them. So it's important for you as the question asker to ask yourself, what about those strong negative emotions that come up in me? Do I feel like a failure as a Course in Miracles student if I feel negative emotion? Do not. Allow it to, and when you're triggered, you pretty much don't have a choice because that is a tender spot for you. So it flares up so you can see it. Allow yourself to have that upset. This is why gun control is so important. You don't want guns around when you're being triggered. Allow it, feel it, but do not hurl your anger at another person. Do not curse and swear and throw dishes at that other person. The problem's yours. You just got your soft, tender, infected, unhealthy spot touched by somebody who you brought to you to show you that. So go inside and ask, why did I get so upset when my partner was half an hour late? What is it in me that I am feeling? And of course, you will feel your suspicion, your jealousy, your lack of trust, your fear of death, whatever it is. That is your homework. So as you go through day after day, dear ones, you will have your triggers, you will have your angers, you will have your fears, you will have your bouts of jealousy or depression, But if you are doing the lessons, you won't go deep down the rabbit hole. You might go for a day or an hour, and you will feel so bad. And because you have been feeling so good, you will make yourself come back to the course. And that is what it can be used for. If you've gone down a rabbit hole into anger or fear or jealousy or control, when you feel that negative emotion coursing through you, you can, after it has started, recover by going back to the teachings. But then look, inquire, ask yourself, why am I angry at my mother every time I walk in the room and just see her? She doesn't even have to do anything. If you're inquiring about your mind, you'll see, I tell negative stories all the time in my head about her. I'm always preparing for a battle with her. And so when I meet her, I have had 27 fantasies about the negative experience that I might have the next time I see her. Why would you be happy to meet her? You've been sowing seeds of hatred. Ask yourself, where do I sow seeds of hatred? Where am I fantasizing about what this person who pushes my buttons, where do I fantasize about them? What's the frequency of that fantasy? Stay present. Be with people only when you're with them. Don't ruminate on them when you're not with them. If you were meant to be with them, they would be in front of you. You're not meant to be thinking about them. This is one of the reasons that romantic love causes such suffering in you, is that constantly thinking, envisioning, fantasizing about the person, what they shouldn't do, what you might do, what it could be, and not living in the present moment, living in your own present moment when you're not with that person. That is what causes the suffering of unrequited love, the constant thinking about something that's fantasy, that's not actually in your lane, in your present moment with you. And then when you meet that person, laying all those stories on them, all those good and negative fantasies that you've had on them, you will have a volatile and unproductive time when you're actually with them. So these are some of the things that we want you to contemplate when you're thinking, why did I just get so upset? Oh, I'm such a bad forgiver. No, no, no. This is the purpose of the text in the lessons, is to reveal to you where you're off track. It is not about punishment and sin and perfection. It is about allowing that experience to surface. And then if you hurt somebody when you're angry and you're contemplating why you got so angry, not just the fact that they didn't do what you wanted, but beneath the form. Were you threatened by that? Was your defense mechanism breached? Were you terrified of being abandoned? What is it in you? Own that. And then if you have by chance, and some of you do, attack somebody else verbally, you can apologize genuinely, not in some superficial way, but to say, look, I don't know why, but that thing that happened last night really, really frightened me. And I'm sorry I attacked you. I'm going to do my work now on bringing that fear to the surface and to see if I can resolve it. That way your feelings are guiding you towards love more and more. You are allowing the expression of that energy without repression and control, because that just shuts everything down, including your creativity, your sexuality, your vital life force. But you are owning it, and you are not allowing attacking other people to be your solution. Your solution will be to observe your negative emotion and then to turn it around and go, what's going on inside me here? Then you can offer it up for healing. Then you can say, Jesus, Ananda, I see that I am very, very insecure about this particular aspect of me, and I need to do some work on this. Please bring me opportunities so that I can develop this weakness that I have. And of course, what is going to happen then? You are going to be given challenges that bring that thing to the surface even more. So this is not a spiritual course for wimps in any way, shape, or form. It takes courage, it takes diligence, it takes vigilance. And once in a while, Give yourself a day off. If you are working really, really hard on your lessons and your practice, give yourself a day off. Take yourself on a date to do the thing that you love to do. Go to an art gallery, go to the zoo, go to a museum, go to a musical performance. Give yourself a nice reward of something that you love to do and have some fun. Try and bring fun into every day. And forgive yourself for the errors that you make. You are only human right now. You will become enlightened one day, and you will look back on these questions and think them foolish, because you will be a master of your own mind. We will return shortly. Right. Oh. I would like you to know that my dog has grown up. She is now able to lay on the floor through these channeling sessions and be absolutely quiet. So Delphi has grown up. I think that answered that question. I think for me, I had a tremendous fear of feelings in the beginning, and they were strong because I'd repressed and controlled them for so long and didn't understand them. So they made no sense. So I was in constant resistance to feeling anything. And I think that's been one of the big gifts that this work has given me, is that once you've gone through the clarification process and the reconfiguring of the parts of your life that don't work, you just don't get triggered as much. You just don't suffer as much because you're in alignment now. You're feeling, that's not going to take me where I want to go, so I'm going to go over here. Whereas when you're repressing and controlling your feelings, you might get led over there because you actually don't know how you feel. And that can lead you into miscreating a life that really is not in alignment with your passion and your purpose. And so, I mean, this aligning with my passion and purpose has been a 17-year journey for me. And those early days of A Course in Miracles were not easy for me, because I was having a very distorted mind revealed and having to correct and change so many things. So hang in there. It can take a little while. Okay. Question for the love stream. Asking for elaboration of chapter 7, details. But having accepted the errors as yours, do not keep them. Give them over quickly to the Holy Spirit to be undone completely, so that all their effects will vanish from your mind and from the sonship as a whole. Sentence 4 leads into this guidance. Sentence 4 leads into this guidance. For a time, I was using this guidance whenever a thought came to mind that was not about this present moment, which was just about all of them. I was doing this over and over for days, and on Christmas Day was distracted and became engaged in activities and forgot my practice. A couple of days later, I began waking up with immense fear in my body, almost like a panic. I went down the rabbit hole, and I'm just now beginning. It's a rabbit hole week. And just now beginning to come out of it. Would you please ask Jesus to speak more about this section and its value and efficacy? Thank you. Let's see what Jesus says about this. You are blessed beings indeed, and we do mean that with all of our heart and soul. You are blessed beings indeed, and this is one of the practices that is teaching the question asker here how valuable it is. For in forgetting her practice, she began to suffer again. This is how the transformation of your mind is facilitated. It is facilitated by the occasional bouts of suffering when you return to unconsciousness. That's what happens when you forget to practice. You are running a program in that sense. And this is why the holidays can be a big, big challenge, because there are expectations, programs running that will override your practice of presence, not Christmas presents, but presence. And so this is the gift of your guidance system. You were doing well. You were realizing that anytime you had a negative thought, you could say, I don't want this anymore. Please take it from me. I don't want it in my consciousness. Remove this from my mind. And lo and behold, the mechanics of Christmas Day come along. Everybody's doing something. You're expected to do all these things. You're having to react to all kinds of scenarios. The presence goes, the unconsciousness comes in the sense that you are not actually choosing presence anymore. Something else is overriding that. And so you go into the frequency of that program and you begin to suffer. What is that program? It will be different for each of you based on your families and your relationship to the Christmas season. Some people go into a false sense of happiness over the Christmas season, and when it's over, feel depressed. Some people will go into a very deep depression over the Christmas season and feel relief when it's over. So it's unique to each of you. But when a date on a calendar makes you feel something, a program is running. Valentine's Day, for those of you that are single and wish you weren't, it's a sad day. For those of you that are single and are happy about it, it's a happy day. For those of you that are in a couple and are happy, it's a good day. For those of you that are in a couple and are unhappy, it's a bad day. That date triggered a program, a belief program that you hold in your mind, and it is brilliant. This guidance system that you have is brilliant because it is always accurate. It is always telling you the truth. Nope, that's not loving. Yes, that's loving. Bad feeling, good feeling. Bad feeling, good feeling. And when you have a program that you determine is producing thoughts that are unloving, and you begin to say, I release this to you, to the Holy Spirit, take this from me. You are now conscious. You are present. You are saying, I do not want the frequency of this thought, and therefore the frequency of these feelings, and therefore the belief. I don't want the belief that's generating these things. Please take it from me. And you will be given the opportunity to release that thing voluntarily using your free will. It is important, however, that you ask for it to be taken, that you don't want it anymore. That's the statement of your desire. I don't want this anymore. Remove it from me. And because this is a holographic universe, because there is a dreamlike quality to it that because of your materialistic training, a lot of you are unaware of because you're heavily, heavily indoctrinated into this lower frequency aspect of it. But as you go up, you will begin to see the dreamlike nature of this place. You'll begin to realize that time is morphing. It's going faster or slower depending on what you're doing. You will realize that things that used to bother you don't bother you anymore. And you'll think, well, wow, that's a miracle. That's really a huge transformation of my consciousness. I'm not even trying not to be upset. I'm just not upset anymore. However, when you practice and you are in presence and your suffering goes down and you're doing this practice of releasing the things that you're seeing. Why are you seeing them? Because they make you feel a little bit bad. Remember, don't judge those negative feelings. Use them as a discerning practice. When you are achieving peace, peace, peace daily by your intense practice, you go into unconsciousness, you will begin to suffer and it will seem worse than before. The untrained mind, the mind that's just program after program, will have a very volatile emotional reaction to everything. It'll be up and down, good day, bad day, hate them, love them, on a diet, overeating. It'll just be this erratic up and down. And it's very hard to discern little dips when you are on a roller coaster like that. But as you go through these lessons, as you release proactively, as you assess proactively, as you inquire proactively, and so become less reactionary, and you're entering into this higher frequency calmness, when a program kicks in, you'll feel it as intense suffering. It is brilliant, again, brilliant, because the intense suffering gets your attention. And it will reveal to you the part of your mind that you've not clarified yet. And as your peace increases, and this is what this being found as she went through the years of A Course in Miracles, as your peace increases, the pain of suffering becomes so intolerable that you will do everything you can within the shortest time possible to get back to peace. And that means that you're forgiving. And that means that you're adding love. That means that you're going to the teachings, because you know that's your medicine. You know that's how you got the peace in the first place. You go back to presence. You stop telling stories. You stop accusing. You stop projecting. You stop blaming. And you own your part in whatever it was that you did in your thinking that was unloving. And it can be as simple as going to a dinner that you don't want to go to. It can be that simple. Once you have reached a state of peace and authenticity with yourself, and you're listening to your guidance system and you're following that passion and purpose along its windy road to whoever knows where, when you compromise yourself or sacrifice yourself or martyr yourself, well, we hope you don't martyr yourself, but compromise yourself, you will feel intense and unrelenting aversion to whatever it is you're doing. And that is because you have become a higher frequency being that is not going to tolerate sacrificing yourself anymore. And so see this big old rabbit hole as a brilliant reflection of the frequency that you took yourself down into because of the program that was running. So as we said in our Christmas address, look at what you did this year that didn't work for you. And prepare next Christmas, if you're going to participate in it again, prepare yourself now to not do that thing that caused that deep suffering. Perhaps you cook dinner for all of your family every single year and it's just a habit and they all show up with their whatevers and you don't want to do it anymore, but you are afraid of their judgment. You're afraid that they won't love you if you don't do this. That's your homework now till next Christmas. But we would say, address the issue now, prepare your mind, find out what's going on in your mind. Why did you go down the rabbit hole? And tell your family and friends, one of you is going to have to cook dinner next Christmas because I'm not doing it anymore. And they might cry and yell and say, but it's a tradition. And you can say, well, you need to start another one because I'm not doing it anymore. I love you, but I don't want to do that anymore. And that is loving to you. That is a wonderful Christmas present for you. So rabbit holes, this is the overall theme of today. Obviously, rabbit holes are good. Use them to reveal to you what you have not yet revealed to yourself. And do the work with forgiveness. That means it's not anyone else's fault. It means they merely touched your tender spot, your shadow. Now shine a light on it. Bring it up. Oh, I'm terribly insecure. Let me work on this for a while. I am insecure. Where else am I insecure? Pay attention throughout the day. Oh, there it is again. I was going to say something to that person and I was too insecure to do it. There it is again. That can be the tiniest little indicator. Ah, there it is again. There it is again. There it is again. This is not an individual occurrence. I'm not participating fully in my life because I'm insecure all throughout the day. This is a project that I need to work on. And it came to you because you went down the rabbit hole. So thank the rabbit holes. Use them to reveal to you that which is terrifying. We will return shortly. Excuse me, voice. Delphi knows that it's almost time. There she is. Okay, go lay down, bug. Go lay down. Go lay down. Just a few more minutes, sweetheart. She's being so good. Go lay down, bug. Go on. Go lay down. Good girl. Good girl. I'm going to be the last question. We're at 10 past here. Could Jesus elaborate on what the borderland and the real world are as spoken of in A Course in Miracles? Thank you. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And the last answer is really that part of this answer as well, the borderland and the real world. The real world is a mind that is in aligned with love. It is the result of a mind in alignment with love. The real world is you free of all fear, free of all judgment, free of all projection, free of all misunderstanding. And you will not stay on this particular plane very long if you reach that state, because you do not need this place anymore and you do not need time anymore. Time and this place are to reveal to you that which is unloving. And so the borderland is that in-between place where you are partly healed and partly still hooked into the system, partly hooked into fear, partly hooked into judgment and projection. But it is better. It is better than being completely immersed in Maya, the illusion. And so there is a journey that you are all on. You are all on this journey from fear to love. You are returning home to the real world. And as you relinquish the beliefs and ideas and thoughts in your mind that are unloving through the practices as revealed to you in A Course in Miracles and your communion with your friends and family in this soul group here, you are all learning together here as you come together for retreats, as you come together in your practice periods online, as you come together here. You are realizing that there is a wonderful feeling about being with like-minded souls who are on the same journey as you. And then you get the contrast of being around beings that are reflecting your old you to you. Remember, it's not them. They are friends, associates, acquaintances, because at some point they fit you. They were right for you. But now you are moving from full immersion in the battleground, up the ladder, through the borderland, into a realm that is betwixt and between. And that can be challenging. We understand that, but you cannot go back. You know, you look down the ladder into the battleground where you used to be, and you remember the constant suffering. You remember the intense fear and anger that you experienced. And now you feel that you are on a trajectory towards heaven on some level. You feel that return of the old once in a while. You step back down a few rungs of the ladder and you feel the intense pain and suffering, and you say, no, I can't do that anymore. It is excruciating now. And so you return to your practice of presence and loving thought and kindness, and you step up those rungs again and you receive your peace of mind again, and you say to yourself, I want more of this, and I'm going to practice more. I'm going to do this more, because if I can get from there down in suffering to here, then what is up there? What is up there? What's it going to be like to get rid of even more of this unloving internal contamination that I have inadvertently cultivated? The real world is your whole mind. That means that you no longer blame the world for anything. You no longer blame anyone else for anything. You are a master creator, and you will spend a month or a year or a few years perhaps after that process, and then you will ascend into a non-physical state that is your real home, where you are instantly connected with all beings in that realm. And that is the state where I am experiencing my consciousness now. I dip down to come into what you would consider an individuated personality form with an association to that particular incarnation that is held in such high regard on your planet. I come down into this realm through this being so that we may communicate, because you need to know that you don't have to suffer. And I need to have clear and open channels to be able to bring that information through that are not contaminated, with fears and resentments of their own so that my message does not get distorted. And that is why it's such a joy to use this particular microphone for this particular work. And we want you to know that you are on the right track. You are here. You are opening yourself up to stepping one day at a time, one rung at a time, up that ladder through the borderland, up to your real home in love and light. Here, our thoughts are manifested instantly. Would you like your thoughts manifested instantly? No, you would not. You'd like the good ones, but you wouldn't like the bad ones, would you? When you say, I wish she'd drop dead, I hate her. Or I wish I could take that from that person, or I wish he'd drop dead, or whatever it is that you're doing, or I hate myself, I wish I could die. You don't want those thoughts instantly manifested. So time is kind in that sense if you're using it for the right thing, to guide you through the process of relinquishing that which is not you. And this is what we will close with today. Any of the hateful thoughts, any of the unloving ideas, any of the judgments, any of the resentments that you have in your mind really aren't who you are at all. And that's why they make you feel so bad, because you are a loving being. You are temporarily experiencing a seemingly physical manifestation here on this plane. It is a journey into fear. And some of you have gone so deeply into fear that you are afraid you can't come back. Paradox indeed, is it not? So choose love, little tiny bits of love. Where can you be a little bit more loving to yourself today? Where can you move that body a little bit more so that it has some strength and has some fitness ability? Where can you make a little tiny choice, a more loving choice in the foods and drinks that you consume? Where can you make a little more loving choice in your communications with other beings, with that person who's so annoying that you don't even like to be in their company? But there they are again in your lane, sitting across from you. Take that opportunity to stop your resistance to them and truly listen to them, perhaps for the first time, and see if you can find out what it is in you that is so annoyed. Use that annoying person to turn the mirror on yourself and say, why am I so annoyed by them? What is it in them that I refuse to look at? And that will take you one step further up the ladder, through the borderland, to your real home, to real life, at one with all that is. You are blessed beings indeed, and we are very, very happy that you come and spend this time with us, and we're very, very happy that you sit in your rocking chairs or your on your sofas with your Course in Miracles, studying and praying, and we are very, very pleased that this year is going to be a great opportunity for you to practice your forgiveness practice. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and we will speak to you again soon. All right. Okay, my lovelies. That is it for today. I have something going on in here. This channeling is so helpful. So much gratitude. Thank you, Serena. It's brilliant. Exactly. I see exactly when I jumped down the hole, it was my choice to speak that which is not true and look and took the road away from my practice. All right, kids. It's a rainy day here, and that's great for the plants. Don't hate rain anymore. Used to hate it. Once again, don't panic about the retreat. We will not be taking bookings until the page is up and all of the links to the booking operations are in order. So May 29th to June 2nd on the Isle of Crete. And just to let you know, Kieran, my son, and I took a week after the retreat last year and drove around Crete, went over to the remote south coast and the northwest coast, and it was truly beautiful. The olive groves and every little taverna that you pull in has the best Greek salad ever. So if you do decide to join us, contemplate spending a few extra days. It's well worth it. I love you all, and thank you for joining me. And Delphi thanks you. because she's going to go for a walk now. So bye.